Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well and enjoying Spring Fling, the Great Bead Extravaganza. It's such a wonderful time for all of us to gather together, bead, just enjoy this time, learn some new stuff, and it's always a fantastic weekend. My name is Nilay Patel. I'm the owner, designer, and educator at SilverSilk and more. And I love this brand. I love what it brings, creativity, all of the fun stuff that we get to do behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, in the classroom setting, the products that I get to invent and tell you guys about. It's just a phenomenal time period in that I get to experience and share it with you guys. We have got a jam-packed show, first of all, and I'm delighted to spend this time with you guys, and thankful that you get to spend it with me as well. So I'm not going to spend my entire camera time too much on my face here because I want to pan down. But real quick, a couple announcements. First is if you're wanting to do some weekend shopping, you can hit up silversilkonline.com. If you use the coupon code TGBE, it's an acronym, the Great Bead Extravaganza, TGBE. At checkout, you can get 15% off everything this weekend. The coupon expires on Sunday at midnight Central Time. The second is that I'm doing a giveaway, which I've got kind of going on at the bottom here. If you share this video, you can pick up the video from my my Facebook business page, or the Great Bead Extravaganza business page. Share the video to your wall, your creative group or community, then comment shared bananas, because jewelry making should be fun. Just comment shared bananas, and we'll gather up those comments and we'll do a random winner to pick out for this fantastic prize that's in front of me. I'm going to give away a book, Wire and Fiber. This was my third jewelry making book. Really some fun projects, and it's just a beautifully designed book because I got to have all of the creative hand in it, as you can see. So I'm going to give that away, as well as 25 feet of flat mesh and a SilverSilk remnants bag, all bundled together. So it's a pretty fun prize, and all you have to do is just share the video and comment shared bananas, and that we'll draw that winner on Sunday after the Great Bead Extravaganza is all over. We'll make sure to remind you of that at the end as well. So I think announcements-wise, that's all I could think of, but I'm sure some stuff might pop up in which I've got my buddy, my partner in crime, Miss Joan, behind the scenes that's going to help with commenting, and you know, if there's any questions, I can also see some of those things in the background. So I'm actually going to go ahead and switch over to my board here. And I thought, just to kind of get us into the spirit of creating, I wanted to kind of do a quick presentation before we get into the bracelet, which is going to be today's project, because the kits are all sold out, which is fantastic, and it's so easy to make. And yeah, I don't know. I was reading the comments, shared bananas. Makes me think of Christy Friesen. I wonder why. Yeah, I think that's really where I picked it up from, and it just stuck ever since. So let's do a warm-up exercise. Let's do some creating and kind of get our feet wet with some of the stuff. So here I've got some pipe chain. If you guys have not yet used this stuff, it is highly addicting because you can use it in so many ways. It is a silicone rubber tubing that has knitted wire on top of it. So I was able to take this rubber tubing, essentially, that comes in a lot of different colors. It's used regularly in jewelry making, whether it's on memory wire or something that has wire stringing component. And I've been able to elevate it with this knitted wire. It's not suddenly a rubber tubing anymore that's colored. It's got this really nice metallic sheen to it, and that intricacy of the knitted wire is just phenomenal. So I wanted to point out two things with this. One is we're going to be using it in today's project for our warm-up. And two, I've received some emails saying that malachite was actually the wrong color to be descriptive of this. So I have to listen to you guys, right? So I decided to name it green turquoise instead, and that's what these folks found it to resemble more of a gemstone or stone. And so it's a bright, essentially a bright turquoise color that has green knitted wire over it, and so it makes it more of a green turquoise color, which I never really realized or even thought about. And then I kind of listened to you guys, and I was like, oh. Okay, so that's what it is from now on, and I think malachite will make a different appearance later down the road with a more truer green color. But for now, we're going to stick with the green turquoise color. And so I got little snippets of that I thought I would share with you guys with the necklace design. So this is probably about, let's see, I've got an official ruler here, so I can give you a more specific measurement. Close to a 6.5-inch strip on each side. That's going to make my necklace rope. And then wait till you see this, because I have got some beads that I strung up. This is a large chunk of quartz. And I found some beads in my inventory because I was kind of in a blue turquoise mode. Imagine that, because it's not my soul color or anything like that. And I wanted to kind of put together a quick little design that you guys can do in minutes as well. So I just picked out a few beads for my inventory, and that would be this this chunky quartz piece. To a round 7mm jump ring, I made these little head pins real quick, wire wrapped head pins with blue crystals on it. Whoops. And I strung 3 to each jump ring, as you can see there, and then just strung it in between my beads here. And I should say that I'm using Soft Flex green turquoise because that's today's theme. That's today's headline opener. And this is the medium-sized beading wire, and that's what I'm using to string all of this through. So let me hold this up one more time. So again, I got those little jump rings with the little crystals in between some of these beads, and just kind of strung that on some soft flex wire that's close to about 2 feet of length. I gave myself a pretty generous cut there. So real quick, what I'm going to do is grab one of my ends here, and I'm just going to go ahead and string it right through the green turquoise pipe chain. You can see how easy that is to create a necklace rope because it strings right through it. The pipe chain is sold in 3-foot lengths, so even if you use about 1.5 feet here, you've got 2 additional feet to work with within your designing. But this just elevates it so much, and the bead stringing wire makes it so easy to put together and pass through without any issue. So really now at this point, I can actually go ahead and finish out my necklace because I had it all strung together already. That's our little design warm-up. Oh, one thing I wanted to add actually before I even do that is I've got some extra jump rings, so I thought I would get a little crazy here. And I'm going to string 3 jump rings right over the pipe chain, because what that's going to do is bring it down here. It'll cover it just a little bit, that end, that raw end, but it just adds a little like fun design aesthetic to my piece here. It won't be here at the top, which is perfectly fine, since it's not going to show anyways, but I just thought that would be a cool little like additional touch here toward the bottom, as you guys can kind of see. And then I'm going to string 3 more on this side as well. And now I can get to my crimping. So let's see. Here we are. So I'm going to string on one of my beads, again, that I just kind of had extra of. And I'm going to string on a crimp. And then another jump ring for my end there. And I actually have jump rings, but I don't think I actually put out a clasp for this design, which is okay because I can do that later, as usual, I guess. So I'm just going to string this right through. I'm going to push that through to make myself a little loop there. And then I'm just going to crimp with something. Here, I think I've got some magical crimpers back here, which is what my buddies over at Softflex were using today. I think they called it ravioli time, which I found quite amusing. Because when is it ever a bad time for ravioli? Probably breakfast, actually, now that I think about it. I don't know if I'd want a ravioli for breakfast, but if it's in regard to beading, then I bet I would. Okay, there we go. So the point of this is that I wanted to show you how easy pipe chain is to use. If you do have a silicone rubber allergy or makes your skin irritated, this might not be the material for you to craft with, but if you don't and want to try something new, then this stuff is amazing. It's really revolutionary just because of its versatility. I love my other chains, don't get me wrong. They're very glamorous in their own right and are fun to use as well and have been with the business forever. But this one is like just something that I thought of after reviewing materials or something new to make with SilverSilk, and it's just been super popular, and I'm really pleased to see what everyone makes with it in our SilverSilk community, the SilverSilk Silkies over on Facebook. If you want to join, that's a great place to do that, and participate with us there and learn lots of other designs just from our friends and what they're making. Okay, I'm just gonna crimp and trim. And then I just need a clasp, which many of you may not be surprised that I did not bring out. But that's okay. I feel like I've redeemed myself with this design, though. And I hope you guys try it, too, because I think it's pretty dynamite. And I'm loving the greens. And I feel like I'm speaking to probably Kristen over at Softflex, because she's my green soul sister. And there's never a wrong time for green, if you will. But I really love this design, and again, the point was just to show you how easy pipe chain is to use. So I think I'm going to get to our actual tutorial. And I'm looking in our comments to see if there's any questions at the moment. There doesn't seem to be. As we move along here, don't forget shared bananas. Gotta have our shared bananas. All right, so I'm actually wearing the bracelet that we're going to be making. This is what I was talking about with the asymmetrical bracelet. And how many of you actually have tried to make an asymmetrical bracelet? I know for many of us out there, it's just easy to replicate a pattern that's kind of already either laid out in sort of a repetitive pattern, or, you know, I don't know, just using the same beads in a way that's just easy to put together, which is all perfectly fine. In this case, I wanted to utilize the ability with SilverSilk and its findings, and even the TierraCast Lotus finding, which I was inspired by, to kind of do something a little different this time. Something I also haven't worked with in a long time are pearls, because I think I just got bored of them for a while, to be honest. And then it kind of creeped back this year, and I was just like, I think I need to try it again, you know? And so I wanted to combine many different textures and my love for mixed media in this bracelet while still making a very slick, elegant design. So let me talk about what those materials are, and we'll get to constructing this. All right. So I've got, first of all, let's talk about the SilverSilk, because I made the SilverSilk specifically for this kit. This is not available in my store, but if you did grab a kit, you guys got like an exclusive SilverSilk here. This is a bright green leather. Oh, well, there you go. And sort of a springy green, if you will, a pastel green. And I knitted gold wire over it and kind of made it all nice and compressed. So this just makes a really like bright tone of sort of this green gold color that I'm just in love with. I personally love brass and gold. To me, the warmer tones just speak to me. I know a lot of us out there enjoy other metal colors too, whether it's silver or copper. So I think I just knitted this purely out of my own selfish motives to just create a color that I enjoy using and what inspired me. And there's many of us out there that enjoy gold as well. So this might speak to you as well. So I have that, and as you can see, I used it in part of my band of my bracelet here. So we're going to be using that. If you don't have this, my buddy Joan came up with a brilliant idea that I feel like I have been promoting all this time, but just didn't even think about it for this show. I do carry hollow mesh, and this is about probably about 4.5 millimeter inner diameter. And what you can do is take some of the leather cord that I sell, which is 3 millimeter leather cord. And this is actually 2 millimeter, so I had to draw the wire down even more. But you could still use the 3 millimeter leather cord without any problems. You can basically fill the sleeve of the mesh with the cord and make your own leather cord, SilverSilk leather mesh, if you will. And so that's an option in case you didn't grab the kit in time. Okay, so I've got that. And then I've got some wire. This is 22 gauge Softflex gold colored craft wire. And I pre-strung my pearls on it because we're going to be using that for our other side here. And how many pearls to string? Well, I've got 8 on here, but I actually, for my wrist, I use 7 for this, but this feels a little loose on me personally. So I'm gonna go with 6 because by the time you add the clasp and everything, this does get to be a pretty good size bracelet. So that is really just depending on what you prefer for your wrist size. So I'm gonna work on making a smaller iteration of this. And so I'm gonna use 6 pearls, but in your kit you got 8. So you got a couple to experiment with, just depending on what size you want to make it. So those are that. And then we've got 1 millimeter leather cord in the same color as the base for our knitted wire here. I can't remember what the name of this leather cord was actually from the top of my head. It's definitely that springy green color though. It's kind of a iridescent pastel green. I guess that's the best definition description that I can get. And I've got about roughly 1 foot of each of these and maybe a little bit less of the 22 gauge wire to work with. I've got 2 triple-strand end caps. I've got, of course, my TierraCast, which I love this, the Lotus pendant here. It's a pretty good size too. It's about 1 inch up and down, and then probably about a 1/2 inch in width here. So really good component there to work with. And then I've just got about 4 jump rings and then a clasp, which, surprise, surprise, I don't have one with this one. So we can always steal the one off this, and then we can pretend like I actually found a clasp for one of my designs today. Why is this always a thing with me? I don't know. One day, I'm just going to have all the clasps, and that's all that's going to be on my table. And all we're going to do is assemble a necklace with clasps one day. Okay, let's get to construction. So where do we start? That is a good question because you could start from any end here. I'm going to start with the knitted wire because that's going to be the easiest thing, I think, to put together. And you got a generous amount of SilverSilk here to work with. So the first thing I'm going to do is just give this a good hand press to get that gold knitted wire to really adhere with the with that leather cord there. And then I'm going to give myself a nice fresh trim with a pair of cutters here at the top, just to get it nice and even up there. And as far as length goes, let's first of all, I'm going to unbend that. I'm going to take a measurement of this. And this is going to give you about 6 inches all the way around of bracelet. And then if you add in the clasp, it's probably closer to a 7-inch bracelet. Yes. Okay. So I was going to say something and then I didn't remember, so it doesn't even matter. So I'm going to cut the same length as I did there. So this is about 2.5 inches, like almost on the dot. And I'm going to cut 3 pieces of that. 1. I can just align these 2 together and cut it. And the last one. Perfect. Again, if you have a smaller wrist, you may end up cutting a smaller amount of SilverSilk, because don't forget the end caps that we're about to use here are going to add a little bit of space. So having said that, I think even though I did 2.5 this time, if I'm going to be true to making just a slightly smaller bracelet, let's just trim off a little bit more here at the end. That way I can compensate with my end caps and jump rings there. So to use the end caps with the leather cord, all you do is you just make sure you want to clean up the ends here. If there's any little wire pieces that are kind of floating around there, just take them off as best as you can. You kind of have to use your chain nose pliers to pluck them off as such. Usually they just kind of come off with a little shake there at the end. They get in the way of crimping. I call them wire fuzzies because they just resemble little fuzz pieces that are wire. And I'm going to open up my end cap a little bit more too. So you can grab your chain nose pliers and then just stick it into the channel and then just press out against the plier handles. And that'll open up the channels just a little bit. It's amazing what 1 millimeter of just opening it up just does, just for trying to fit the SilverSilk in. And I'm going to do that to both. Now, what makes my findings special are a few different things here. So first is that the plating is a high quality plating over brass metal. The brass is a very tough metal. So whenever you go to crimp this, that metal means business. It's not going to stay it's not going to come apart. It's going to stay in place throughout its life, and or until you decide to give or revamp the jewelry piece and break things apart. But you will have a good crimp time and time again, just with that high quality brass interior. The other thing is that there are channels, there are little teeth inside the channels, and these teeth grasp onto the SilverSilk here, those little nits, which is kind of a cool thing, especially for the security of the crimp and making sure that it doesn't go anywhere. There we go. That's going to look really good. I'm making sure that my SilverSilk imprint is upright on both of the end caps there. It's only imprinted on one side, by the way, so just bear that in mind as you put these different things together. I'm using a pair of wide nose pliers to crimp my end cap here. You'll notice that the tip of these pliers are also white. I've used a product called Tool Magic to basically rubberize the end of my plier tips. This coating is essential for all sorts of things, especially for using SilverSilk findings, because it doesn't cause any sort of nicks or marks on the beautiful polished end cap, as you can see whenever I'm crimping it. It also provides a really great grip whenever, if I'm trying to hold a component. It doesn't slide around on my plier. I've got a really good grip with just that rubber coating. So I recommend, if you have the opportunity, to grab some Tool Magic, and you can do your shopping over at softluxcompany.com for that product, to grab some and dip your pliers in it, just these wide nose pliers, and you'll have the perfect tool for using SilverSilk end caps throughout your SilverSilk journey, if you will. Alrighty, so I've got my component there made. I'm going to grab my Lotus. I'm going to then grab my jump ring and a little, well, I've just grabbed my jump ring. I think that's where I was going with it. Going to attach my Lotus end there with my end cap. So I've got basically the first part of this component, attached. And I can even put a jump ring here at the end. And if I had a clasp on hand, then that would be the perfect time to attach it as well. We'll just pretend like I do. Okay, now we're ready for the other side, which is the exciting part, because when I've picked out my metallic material here, which was the SilverSilk, I could do this on the other side, but I wanted to create something purposefully different, I guess, and something that would complement the SilverSilk, but not be so much of it that it would make the design boring. So I had to be careful about this. I wanted to approach pearls in a very sensitive way. So how could I combine this color with the same sort of look and feel on the other side where I'm using pink pearls, because that's such an interruption with color? Well, there's a couple different factors that went through my brain. I'm with essentially a pastel color palette with a metallic twist to it, of course. It's got the gold running through it. But the color, this color of green is purely pastel. So whenever I picked out the pearl color, I wanted to go with that pastel finish, pastel color. So these are just very soft pink, and not too disruptive with the overall design. It just gives a little bit of an interruption for fun, for flair. What I also thought about is, because I'm using a metallic texture on one side, I want to use something that's a little bit different and contrasting on the other side. I wanted to use something that was more pearlesque, if you will, and has that sort of satin finish to it. So the pearls, I think, just made for a very great complement of material. What I'm going to do is I'm going to string those onto my 22 gauge wire. I've got lots of wire to work with, even though I won't use all of it. What I'm going to do is start by making a little wire wrapped loop on one end. So I'm going to grab my wire. If you need to run it through some nylon jaw pliers, you can do that to straighten out your wire. It also very lightly work hardens your wire to get it a little bit more stiff, just because the Softflex wire is true to its name. It's soft, which is forgiving for your fingers, and yet the perfect wire to do wire wrapping. So there's always some sort of end hardening that needs to happen if you are looking for something that's a bit more sturdy or stable. And in this case, even just running it through the nylon jaw pliers helps with that. So let's just do it while we're here. Alrighty. I'm going to grab it with my chain nose pliers. I'm going to be about 1.5 to 2 inches out from the end there. I'm going to just bend it down away from me and make sure that it is bending at a 90-degree angle on my wire there. I'm going to grab my round nose pliers and just tuck that into the elbow of my 90-degree angle bend in the wire. I'm going to work at the narrower part of my pliers here. I want a smaller, daintier loop. So I'm just going to work that little piece of wire around, and I'm going to switch sides just like that. And then I'm just going to continue wrapping that wire. Excuse me for just a second. Sorry, excuse me. Work that wire around to get that back to another 90-degree angle bend. So that way, now I've got a central loop here, and I've got my wire kind of set up to do my wire wrapping. So I'm going to grab the entirety of my loop there with my chain nose pliers, and then I can either bend that with my fingers. Sometimes I'm not as graceful, which is fine. So I'm going to use my pliers here to help me wrap that wire around my stem. And I'm going to go around like 3 times. And the reason I wanted to do a wire wrap loop versus a simple loop is purely for security. I have now pretty good looking loop with a nice secure end there, and I know that my attachments won't become loose or, fall out later on. So I'm just going to kind of make sure that that end of my wire there is all tucked in and not poking out. Just have to manipulate it a little bit to get it to curl the way that I want it to. Perfecto. I'm just going to slide my pearl. Blah, blah, blah. Where's my hydration? I know, Shakita, you got a good point. So today I'm having coffee with my best friends. So I've got many of the TGBE members here. And so I'm just going to take a quick drink of coffee. What kind of coffee do you guys like? I'm a bold, like dark coffee kind of guy. Just FYI. Okay, got my pearls on, and now I'm gonna clip the end off here so I don't hurt myself. And I'm gonna grab my my little leather cord piece here, the 1mm leather cord, and I'm just going to tie a knot right over that little wire wrap loop that we did earlier. Or actually right underneath it, because that's just going to fall into there pretty well. I'm going to do this twice. Okay, so that it just grips the wire ever so well there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to apply my glue at the end whenever I get this all like nice and knotted up, if you will. And that's sort of a finishing touch that I like to do at the end because it's all constructed. But what I'm going to do is just kind of do a square-ish knot just by doing a singular, I guess a singular square knot. Maybe not even, because I'm just sort of looping it, really. And you could do this however you want. You got plenty of cord here to work with, but really, let's go back to our macrame days. What you can do is do a 4 symbol here with the leather, and then go up through that 4 that you just made, and this will create that easy little knot. If you watch plenty of beadshop.com, Kate's videos, then macrame is no stranger to you. Then you will have learned quite a bit of macrameing from her videos. So I'm just going to do that to each one of these. You could do it once, you could do it twice. Again, you've got lots of leather cord there to work with. And this is just going to add a little bit of texture and that color back into my design. So I'm not splitting it with pearls and being insensitive to the palette. This is going to just add a little sprinkling of color and complement the other side of my bracelet. And sort of what Jill did with her video just recently, she was balancing colors and textures with her seed beads and with her other sprinkling of different types of beads within her design. And she kind of walked us through these different design principles and about creating intentional interruptions for just the sake of stopping someone to, have them look at it twice. And so I think creating this little randomized pattern just kind of complements this, but it also just adds so much more interest to your piece. So we'll just do our last one. On the last one, I'm going to do a couple of knots here just to kind of make it similar to what I did here at the end. But that's really all I did to create this design. Here, let's do a proper knot. I'm going to go through that loop one more time. So really just a nice, easy square knot at the end to round this out. I don't want to be too hard on that leather cord. It is genuine leather, so it's going to break easy if I'm very violent with it. So I kind of want to go a little bit easier on it. And I've created a pretty decent knot there, so I'm just going to leave that as is and create the other wire wrapped loop here on the other end. So again, I'll just bend the wire away from me. And I'm going to grab my round nose pliers. Okay, twist this all the way around toward me and then switch sides on my round nose pliers and then twist away from me to finish out my little loop there. And then I'm going to grab my chain nose pliers and my other pliers to coil around the stem several times. Okay, that looks really good. Just trim that right off. And then I can go in and fix and adjust my little wire piece there. Pretty easy. If you are still suffering from making the perfect types of loops, I would say keep practicing, keep watching the tutorial videos. There's always something you're going to pick up every single time you watch it and try it out for yourself. And truthfully, like, I would say even sometimes I'm not perfect at it. It just appears that way. But I will say that I've made my share of crappy loops a lot. So The trick is just to, if it looks crappy, just do it over again, or well, and really, that's what I would do. Actually, I would probably just take it apart and then redo it because I am a weirdo perfectionist. But I would just say keep practicing because it's going to take a lot of work to make it look pretty and appear, as polished as it can be. I'm going to go ahead and trim off my leather cord pieces there. I've got this really adorable little component. And I'm ready for some, I use E6000 because I just have that on hand. But you could use Loctite, you could use the glue that some of the other TGBE members have in either their store or their video that they've done today. I just happen to have this on hand and enjoy using it. So I'm just gonna grab a little piece of wire actually and coat it with some glue. And then just kind of gently push that into my knot. And then I can go back in and really trim out that extra little piece. But because it's sort of a silicone-based glue, it's going to be a little bit till it dries, but it does have a very good hold on it, on whatever it is that you're wanting to make sure that stays glued. Okay. Typically takes about 24 hours to dry. So it's a little bit of a wait, but it'll be worth it. Okay, once you've done that, now it's just a matter of connecting these components together and really just making this piece come to life. So I'm just going to connect it with my jump ring here and at the top part of my Lotus flower there to connect this all together. And then in your kit, you get a clasp because I made sure not to forget it there, but I sure did forget it in real life. So I wanted to give you guys a good idea on how this piece was constructed and some of the thought process that went into the design. And then you can imagine, like with my clasp there, it's just a perfect fit, right? But that's essentially the bracelet in a nutshell. Really cute accessory for the summer, I think. And that's basically our project that we got to make together. But it feels like I've got a few minutes to kind of talk through some of the other SilverSilk magic real quick before we head it to the next presenter after a little breaky break. Let's see. I have got some kits left for this was the Romance in Rome. So when you grab this kit and look over on my YouTube channel, we recently got to make a really stellar bracelet together, which looks like this. And remember how we did that pipe chain warm-up in the beginning of the show? There's some pipe chain included in this Romance in Rome kit that you can create this bracelet. So if you go over to my YouTube channel and just look at the recent videos, you'll see this bracelet. And it doesn't require anything outside of the kit to make it. All the components and wire are included in it. And it's just a really fun little project that you get to learn a clever way to wire wrap the design and have it all like integrated into one design with one step. Pretty fun piece. Also from the kit, we hopped over on Facebook and did a live together just recently, and we got to make a really fun necklace design using some of the kit components at SilverSilk that's included in it, which is this really cool teal pearlesque chain. Love this stuff. And then we also, on the fly, made some earrings, which I think I lost one of them. That's on my desk. But just imagine this twice, and you have a pair of earrings. And if nothing else, then maybe it's just a pendant for a necklace, right? But this was kind of a fun challenge because I just took whatever I had left from the kit after we made our necklace and just did something on the fly and just got to chat with my friends out there for a little while. It was really just an excuse for us to do a video that's a little bit longer and spend some time together. Probably selfish reasons, but hey, it is what it is. So grab that kit. There's only like 10 or so left, and I started out with a bunch, but they sold out very quickly. So I'm gonna scroll back up through some of these chats and see what y'all had to say. So I know I asked a coffee question earlier. And speaking of, I need another sip while I'm looking at this. A shout out to my Silkies and to a few select people that helped me behind the scenes. First is Teresa Ramsdell and Greta, her daughter, for being proud Silky champions. And Teresa helps with so much in our Silkies group, keeps us all motivated through her posts, and just does a phenomenal job of being the welcome committee to our Silkies group. So love you, Teresa. Thank you so much for everything that you do for SilverSilk. Let's not forget Miss Joan Dice behind the scenes. Y'all, if you're out there, give her some snaps, please. She's behind the scenes right now answering questions in case you have any. But she does also a phenomenal job of keeping everything streamlined in SilverSilk land. And of course, Colleen, who is usually over on YouTube during my live videos and working the comments section there. So you three ladies make the magic happen when I'm not able to, and your work does not go unseen or unappreciated. We love you so much. Oh, so that's a great mug. I bet some of us extravaganzers would love to buy them. So it's funny because we actually did this as part of our last great bead trade. And I believe we've got one coming up soon. So we're going to make an announcement about that not too long from now. But these were available at one point in time for folks to grab along with some goodies that were stuffed in it. I treasure this mug. First of all, it's big enough for all of my coffee. And second, it's just lovely to have like these smiling faces kind of looking at you in the morning. Because how could you not have a good morning if you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11 smiling people at you? Alrighty. Still looking back, looks like everyone's kind of taken care of on the commenting here. Ooh, Lisa says, I drink Bulletproof the Mentalist coffee. It's the best. Haven't tried that one. So I'll have to look that one up. It's a good idea, friend. Dav says, snap, snap, snaps for Joan. Shout out to Colleen. Does amazing. Joan is great. Teresa says, big hearts. Y'all are amazing. Thanks, everyone. And I see many of my friends out there, including Miss Marianne, who says, I'm the best. You're so sweet. Always so sweet. Miss Jennifer Hunt is out here. Hi to you. Kristen, some of our TGBE members. All right. So thank you so much. I'm going to pan over to my face here. I just wanted to say, like, these events are just such a blessing for me. I hope you guys enjoy all of the stuff that the presenters are also bringing, and having some great sales in their store. You guys are all supporting small businesses, and this is it for us. Like, this is how we live. This is how we are able to stay, as artisans and create and put beautiful things into the world. So thank you for this opportunity, and we love you guys so much, and you guys make this weekend enjoyable for us. You want to make us just keep going and going with this, and we will. And thank you so much. So don't forget, including a share of exchange here, the wonderful giveaway that TGBE has put together, these 3 gigantic baskets full of goodies. And we are drawing 3 winners for this, from this big experience after it's all over. And all you have to do is just sign your email, add your email to our list, and from there we'll pick a winner. So I believe that link is posted in our featured section within the group, or you can check it out on our TGBE business Facebook page. Otherwise, I hope you guys will also subscribe to my YouTube channel. at SilverSilk and more. Giant library of all kinds of SilverSilk products. I've also got an Instagram, and I would love to grow that as I continue on with the business. So if you have any friends that are on Instagram, hi Gail Lauder, you can let them know that Nilay Patel with SilverSilk out and more is out there, and bringing you some fun, fresh ideas for jewelry making, and follow me on there. You can find us on the Silkies group, actually, that way, pointing that way. And my store is silversilkonline.com if you want to do some light shopping. Don't forget about our giveaway. If you share this video on your Facebook wall or creative group and comment, shared bananas, we're just going to pick a winner for some great prizes. A book, a remnants kit, and 25 feet of flat mesh. What are you going to do with that? You'll have to tell us in the Silkies group, right? Whew. Okay, guys. We all need a break, right? Before the next one. Because Miss Kelly Sutton, the incomparable Kelly Sutton, as I like to call her, highly talented, amazing woman, so fun. I enjoy her personality and her creativity and all the insight that she brings to the group. So I'm going to be delighted to see what she is going to cook up for us. And I'll give you guys just enough time for a little break here. But I will see you very soon here, because we have got a tutorial coming up on the 19th for our SilverSilk tutorials, and some fun collaborations coming up as well next week and the week after. So keep with the SilverSilk brand. You can find out all about us just by engaging and just hopping onto our text group or our Silkies group, and keep with us. So all right, I love all of you again so much, and I will catch you again soon. Mwah! Happy spring fling and creating, and just enjoy the weekend. All right, see you later.